World Trade Center, tower number 1 is on fire. The whole outside of the building, there was just a huge explosion. Mayday. Engine, the little plane hit the second tower. Urgent. Send every available ambulance, everything you got to World Trade Center now.
Attention all units, by the order of the citywide tour commander, all off-duty firefighters and all off-duty officers are hereby recalled.
My name is Walter Blum. I'm a member of the New York City Fire Department. At the time, I had 19 years on the job, and I was assigned to ladder company 174 in Brooklyn. The FDNY went into what they call a recall. I dropped everything right where I was standing and got in the car and started heading into the firehouse.
I was in my bedroom and I was just about to go to the office. My son Travis came knocking on the doors like, "Dad, there's been some kind of attack." And I had no idea what he was talking about. We turned on the TV. He's like, "Dad, thousands of people just died."
Anybody and everybody, the first time down there, could not get over the devastation. The volume of smoke that was still pouring out of the area, the dust, and there was tremendous amount of paperwork floating in the air. There were fires burning all over the place. It was a war zone. The fire department were having a very difficult time getting water on some of these fires, but at the time we really felt that the more important thing to do was search and rescue. We were going down there, we were looking for anybody who possibly survived this.
When we started getting the reports about all the people that had died and the people who were in the pile and that there could be people alive in that pile, my son immediately starts sobbing and then I start crying and I realized that, this is a horrible, horrible thing.
We really, that first week, still weren't 100% certain how many firemen had perished. One thing we pride ourselves on, as does the military, is recovering a lost member. The Scott packs that we wear have a device that's designed for a lost member in a typical fire, and it gives out this large squelch, and that's all we were hearing. We knew they were in there, we were trying to track them, but the debris field was so intense we couldn't get to them. The frustrating part was, where are these guys? We know they're in there somewhere. We were running 24 hours, we were in all kinds of weather. It still was fairly mild in New York, but the nights were getting cold, there were massive storms running through, and once you're wet, you're down 60 degrees. So
at this particular time, the most vulnerable were the firemen and police officers who were on this site. And the reason was, there were still a lot of people that were going to be pulled out of that pile. I was thinking we need to see if we can help. I went to the office and I asked the employees to begin to help me call people in New York to see how we could help.
At the time, I was a director for a foundation within the fire department. It's called the Fire Family Transport Foundation. That office was getting this influx of phone calls.
We got a hold of them and, I just said, what can we do? And I told them kind of what we do. I thought, well, maybe we could use our product. It's a fabric structure that operates more like a permanent house does. And we'd had people living in them in some of the most harsh environments in the world.
I'm explaining to somebody, Alaskan Structures calls me, besides the hundreds of other phone calls, and somebody overheard me say it and said, "This is absolutely what you guys need down there."
Somehow or other, I ended up on the phone with emergency management, which is part of the governor's office in New York.
There was a lot of controversy of stuff that was coming in. So emergency management for the city was getting most of these phone calls, and I think along with everybody else who wanted to donate time and surplus supply, anything that they could offer, were all being told no.
I'm on the phone to these guys and I'm like, well, they say they need this stuff. They're like, nope, they don't need anything. And I'm like, well, I just talked to the fire guys and they're like, and I've already shipped this stuff, right? It's on its way, but I don't tell them that. So then I called the fire guys back. I'm like, they told me they'll arrest me if I come. And they said, you know what? We're gonna pick you up at the airport. We're gonna get you a badge. We're gonna take you to a hotel, and we're gonna escort you to the pile and back every day.
So I was getting, who gave you authority to do what you're doing? And nobody seemed to be accountable for anything anyway, so my thought was, what are you gonna do, fire me?
I knew I would go, but because there had been employees involved in the logistics and reaching the right people, they were already invested in this whole thing. I really needed to bring them. It's hard to describe in words, really, what it felt like when you got there. Smoke was billowing out of the pile everywhere, and yet they were still searching for bodies in the pile. We wanted to get the shelters up as fast as we could for them. We could tell by that time how desperately they needed them. We just headed for the shelters and started putting them up.
The structures, when they did show up, were the first cover that we actually really had. It was a gift from heaven when we got one up. It was water, a place where you could just clean up, take your bunker gear off. There were cots set up in them where you could lay down if you needed to.
The value as we watched them use them went up and up. We got more and more excited that we came and that we did this because we didn't really understand the total value when we went.
All four corners of Ground Zero had one of the structures put up. The staff chiefs realized how critical it was to be able to have these things where you get the guys in there, because a lot of guys had the same idea of, I'm not leaving. I have friends in there that are still missing, and I'm not leaving until we find my friend. I can honestly say the FDNY, everybody who wanted to donate, whether it was their time or whatever specialty they had, they were only in the goodness of their heart. And when I look back, Richard's crew most certainly proved that. They were here, and all they wanted to do was help. I could not believe, really, the way this man lives his life. He's just a true, spirited person, says he's gonna do something, and he does it. And if I was to take a leap back in time, if we were able to interview everybody that was able to get in these things, I know they would love to shake Richard's hand just to say thank you for the fact that they were actually down
there. Hey, pal. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. How are you? You look good, my gosh. Did you grow younger? What happened?
I feel like you.
Look at you. The 9/11 experience where I took a team for the first time, I realized how much it meant to those 5 people to have gone on that mission. And I knew this was something that would last a lifetime for them. Just the feeling that we had done this together, we'd gotten to the point where we could go help together. I couldn't have done that by myself. I was inspired by the team, and Wally was part of that team. You're almost reborn when you go on something like this. You come out of it a new person. And part of the new person that I became was one that wanted to do this with other people. It really is important to me to thank you, Wally, for all the work you did and all the risk I know you took to get us there. Doing this mission to Ground Zero after 9/11, it birthed a whole new thing for me and for a whole lot of other people who've gone with me since then. Because since that time, we've done around 90 missions, and literally hundreds of people at varying times have gone with us to countries all over the world. As far as the team efforts to go help people in horrible disasters around the world, it all started on 9/11.